Hello everyone, I'm Wade, your Cinephile host. I'm sure we've all done a maze before, whether it's on paper or a physical one. Mazes are fun to do, but probably not when your life depends on it. The Maze Runner 移动迷宫 is a 2014 American dystopian science fiction film. The story follows a 16-year-old boy, Thomas, portrayed by Dylan O'Brien, who awakens in a rusty elevator with no memory of who he is, only to learn that he has been delivered to a middle of an intrinsic maze, along with many other boys who have been trying to find their way out of the ever-changing maze, all while establishing a functioning society in what they call the Glade. Thomas wakes up inside an underground elevator with no memory of his identity. A group of male youth greets him in a large grassy area called the Glade, enclosed by tall stone walls. The boys, known as the Gladers, have formed a rudimentary society and each assumed specialized tasks. Their leader, Albie, says that every boy eventually recalls his name, but not his past. Thomas learns that a vast maze surrounding them is the only way out. During the day, designated runners search the maze for an escape route and return before nightfall when the entrance closes. No one has ever survived a night in the maze. Thomas gets into competition with another boy named Gally. Soon after, they hear a terrifying sound.
What the hell was it?
That, my friend, was a griever. Don't worry. You're safe here with us. Nothing gets through those walls.
All right, guys, let's tuck it in for the night. Come on, it's a good night.
The next day, while Thomas was out in the woods, he's attacked by Ben, a runner who has been stung and left delirious by a griever, one of the deadliest techno-organic creatures that roam the maze at night. Ben is forced into the maze and left to die, as there is no cure for his condition. Albie and Mino, the lead runner, later retrace Ben's step inside the maze. Mino appears at dusk, dragging Albie, who has been stung, but they are unable to reach the closing entrance in time. Thomas runs into the maze to help, which leaves all three of them trapped inside the maze.
What happened to him? What does it look like? He got stung. What happened to his head? I did what I had to do.
They soon encounter grievers. After Thomas secures Albie, he lures the griever into a closing passageway, which causes it to be crushed. The three manage to survive the night and return the next morning. Then, the first ever girl arrives in the elevator, with a note saying that she's the last one to enter the Glade. She recognizes Thomas, but he doesn't remember her. A couple of boys enter the maze to locate the griever's corpse. They remove a beeping mechanical device from inside it. Upon their return, Gally claims that Thomas has jeopardized the fragile peace between the youths and the grievers, and he wants him punished.
First he breaks our rules, and then he tries to convince us to abandon them totally. What? The rules are the only thing that have ever held us together. Why now are we questioning that? If Albie was here, you know he'd agree with me. This shank needs to be punished.
However, Newt, the group's second-in-command, instead designates Thomas as a runner. Miho takes Thomas to show him a hand-constructed model of the maze that is based on previous explorations. The maze's numbered sections open and close in regular sequence. Thomas realized that the device corresponds to section of the maze. Teresa had found two syringes filled with an unknown substance in her pocket. They use one on Albie, and miraculously, he recovers from the griever's sting. Mino and Thomas venture back into the maze with the device and discover a possible exit. A laser then scans the two, and the exit closes. Thomas and Mino start to run away, as traps activated by the laser nearly killed them. That night, the maze entrance doesn't close. Instead, other entryways open up, which allowed grievers to pour in.
Okay, Chuck, I want you to go to the council hall. Okay, start barricading the doors.
Winston, you go with him.
Got it.
Get the others. Tell them to go to the forest. Go hide, now!
A massacre ensues as the Gladers struggle to fight back. Albie and several others are killed in the process. Afterwards, Gally punches Thomas and blames him for everything that has happened. On impulse, Thomas stabs himself with a severe griever sting in an attempt to revive his memory. The others inject him with a last antivenom. Unconscious, he recalls that he and Teresa worked for the organization that created the maze, Wicked. The boys have been test subjects for an experiment. Thomas then reveals himself and Teresa and confess that they worked with Wicked and studied the boys for years. Meanwhile, Gally has taken command and intend to sacrifice Thomas and Teresa to the grievers to restore peace.
Did you hear me? I said tie him up!
As they enter the maze in an attempt to find an escape, they also had to fight off grievers. The Gladers eventually enter a laboratory filled with corpses. In a video recording, a woman, Ava Page, explains that the planet has been devastated by a massive solar flare, followed by a pandemic of a deadly virus, the flare. The teens learn that they were part of an experiment intended to develop a cure. Page is seen shooting herself in the video as the lab is overtaken by armed men. Suddenly, Gally arrived with a gun in hand, stung by a griever. Mino impales Gally with a spear, but Gally has already fired the gun, with Chuck fatally shot. While Thomas mourns over Chuck, masked armed men then rush in and take the rest of the group to a helicopter. It flies over a vast desert wasteland and approaches a ruined city. In the end, the supposedly dead scientists meet in a room. Page notes that the experiment has been successful. The survivors are now entering Phase 2.
Phase 1, complete. They managed to escape the first maze, but no happy ending yet. There would be a new challenge for the Gladers, another phase that they would have to face before they are truly free. Critics consider The Maze Runner to be better than most young adult book-to-film adaptations. I personally enjoyed the thrill of solving a puzzle, but it was a whole new level of thrill to watch the puzzle being solved when one life depends on it.
接下来 Ruby 要揭晓今天电影迷移动迷宫要教我们些什么。
Hey, question. Do you know what a labyrinth is?
Oh yeah， 中文跟 maze 一样都是迷宫，不过我记得他们好像有一点不同。
Yes, 虽然中文都是迷宫 but there are several differences. Starting from the entrance and exit, a labyrinth has only one entrance, 而那个入口也就是出口。
And for a maze 可能就有好多出入口。
Exactly. Another obvious difference is a maze has branches, forming confusing pathways. On the other hand, a labyrinth 只有一条路。
那听起来就简单多咯。
Well, not exactly. Labyrinth 也常被用来形容非常复杂的事物，比如说人与人之间的感情。
Oh, sounds like you are no stranger to the labyrinth of love.
Well, wouldn't you agree that human minds can be the greatest maze on earth?
Wow, 好深奥哦，有意思。Well, I'm Wade.
I'm Ruby.
I hope you've learned something useful in this episode of Cinephile as I did. You can find more on the FUNDAY website. Let's make every day a fun day.
Okay, just easy, all right?
Where am I? What is this place? Why can't I remember anything?
This is all normal, okay? We've all been through this, okay? And your name, that'll come back to you in a couple of days. It's like the one thing that's...
Teresa.
What'd you say?
My name. It's Teresa.